Oh yes, but see, I can't recognise people with their masks on. Phillipstown Community Centre Charitable Trust, and uh, is Bryan joining you as well, or no, on your own? Thank you. Well, we've already heard from Bryan, so.
Good morning, Morena. My name is Viviana Zanetti and I represent the Phillipstown Community Centre Charitable Trust. I'll give our submission as received and read, so I will not linger on the details, but today I would like to use the time to take you on a journey that maybe will tickle the aspirational and visionary part of you. So imagine a Phillipstown where commercial and residential blend harmoniously together, maybe with one gradually fading into the other through a third space in the middle, we're able to bring all the elements of the neighborhood together. Imagine a neighborhood where the current gray, smelly, and unpleasant main road are surrounded by trees that absorb the emission from the high volume of traffic traveling from in and out of the city, and where the tree canopy shelter from the heat of the summer and inspire people to bike and walk more. Imagine a Phillipstown with well-utilized pocket parks and green corners, and not being any longer the concrete jungle that it is at the moment. Imagine a suitable neighborhood gateway to the neighboring city center. Imagine a Phillipstown where people live, invest to live in, where families, retired people, young professionals, people from all walks of life, live in the houses that they own. Currently, according to the 2018 census, the 65% of the dwellings are rented. So that means that despite Phillipstown having the lower house price, median house price in whole Christchurch, people do not buy to live, they buy to invest and rent out. And imagine then old villas and cottages restored by private buyers right beside new developments which reflect the need for high-density housing solutions. A neighborhood that echoes in its urban composition, diversity, variety, biculturalism, multi-ethnicity, all elements already present in the current demographic of Phillipstown. Imagine residents walking safely to the shops in the area and enjoy what they provide. And imagine businesses thriving, all because a clearly defined, walkable, and efficiently laid out commercial center is being created, accessible and pleasant with streetscape enhancement to encourage locals and visitors to spend more time in that center. Quotes from the Ferry Road Master Plan. Imagine the sense of belonging, the commitment towards the neighborhood. Imagine people connecting, supporting each other, taking care of the neighborhood, participating in the decision-making in their own way, not necessarily through online submissions. People celebrating the history of Phillipstown, which is one of the oldest neighborhoods in Christchurch. Some of those images, in various forms and outcomes, are already happening. And the Trust is one of the contributors, of course, with the Phillipstown Community Hub. But the Phillipstown Community Hub is not just a place or a building. The whole Phillipstown is a hub of people who often gravitate around a site, but not necessarily. Phillipstown has fantastic people, great ethnic diversity, wonderful neighborhood connections, but unfortunately, at the same time, Phillipstown is also a highly disengaged community, and its disengagement is understandable, given that Phillipstown has been forgotten for many years. On the other hand, some of those images are not already happening, and they will not casually happen. They need to be planned. They need work, commitment, engagement, and partnership. The Phillipstown community needs consideration, and we strongly believe that it's time to change the approach to Phillipstown and its issues. It's time to start to develop a vision for the area and to work following an intentional and strategic planning. We would like to urge Council to work with us, the community, and other possible stakeholders on a vision for Phillipstown. We believe that there won't be a better time than now, as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity might come up soon. With the Ministry of Education being undecided, but generally inclined to declaring the surplus of the former Phillipstown Primary School and Technology Centre site, That huge piece of land could be a blank canvas where council, community, and other stakeholders can exercise their visionary, aspirational, and creative skills. This is the time for developing a strong partnership, council, community, and trust, and maybe other stakeholders to work together in an urban planning exercise where a future permanent hub is indeed considered. And by the way, we support the allocation of funding for this purpose, thank you. But it's considered in a more holistic way, where for a thriving, vibrant, and blossoming Phillipstown, where commercial and residential blend together, where residents are proud of their neighborhood, where businesses thrive, and where, by the way, there is also an awesome community center and hub. The key points that I would like you to take with you today is that we ask that Phillipstown is considered one of the priorities in the council planning, in its spending for maintenance and improvements, and especially around Ferry Road. We have heard different people talking about the state of Ferry Road. That is including greening the East program. Phillipstown is in the East and needs greening, so to us it's a no-brainer. That is prioritizing the inclusion in the Slow Neighborhoods program, also considering the enormous amount of developments that have been happening but will also happen in the future, as the chairperson of the Waikura board mentioned last Wednesday. We ask for a partnership with council to develop a vision for the neighborhood. In summary, we ask council to be visionary and creative and to embark with us in a journey that I'm sure will lead to great opportunities. Thank you, and I'm happy to take questions.
Very much, and thank you for what you do for the Phillipstown community. It's greatly appreciated. Any questions? Celeste.
Thank you for your presentation, and I agree that that upper section of Ferry Road is really dangerous. I often pop into the post office there and notice, pedestrians and cyclists and others must have a hard time. I just wondered about what used to be Linwood College, Te Arapai College, I think it's called now. Do you know if they travel up that, have you spoken to the school about the usage of the immediate areas such as Ferry Road as a transport link?
No, we haven't connected with the school recently, even because they have just moved back.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It'll be interesting to get some feedback. I mean, obviously you're right, they've only just come back, but it'll be interesting to see how that increases pedestrian, cycle, and other people using those roads. So it does highlight the importance of upgrading that area.
At the moment, I receive feedback, constant feedback from residents, and especially those walking kids to Te Wakaunua school. They feel the Ferry Road is highly unsafe, especially if you walk with young kids and you have maybe little ones with you. The feedback are all highlighting the unsafety of Ferry Road, especially with the pathway being shared between pedestrians and cars. That is absolutely incredible. But we haven't heard from the school.
Thank you.
I've got Yanni next and then Aaron.
Yeah, thank you. We heard last night from a residents group that they were against us putting on money for Phillipstown as part of the draft annual plan process, and that we should have done this as part of the long-term plan. I just wanted to check with you, were these issues raised as part of the long-term plan process last year as well to council?
Committing for a permanent hub in Phillipstown, yeah, we have been asking for that for a long time. But I think that what I really think that it's important is to work on together on a vision for Phillipstown where there is also a hub, but having just a hub, yes, it's important, but it's not enough. I think that what I really would like to see is overall vision for the area, especially because maybe that huge site will be available and it could be so exciting to develop that area for the neighborhood.
Right. But my recollection, and I'm just checking with you if it's correct, that the Phillipstown Community Hub made a submission to the long-term plan asking for the safety improvements along Ferry Road
Oh, yeah.
and raising concern about the condition of the footpath and the safe crossing.
Sorry, yes, sorry, Yana, I didn't understand the question, sorry. Yes, we raised that with the long-term plan, and we also raised the situation of Ferry Road with the Transport Subcommittee in October 2021. So it's an issue that we have been raising for some time now.
Right. Thank you. And just the final question from me is, you talk in your written submission about Phillipstown being neglected, that you're really keen to work with the council, and for council to take the lead in prioritising maintenance and initiatives to demonstrate that it values the suburb. I know also during the representation review, you did raise concern around where the future service centre and boardroom would be for the new community board that you'll be part of. Do you think there's a need for council to work with the local community around ensuring that there's equity and access to the new community board facilities for the people in Phillipstown, given the concerns that you've raised?
Yeah, definitely. We know that Phillipstown community is a little disengaged. So any kind of idea about, for having council closer to the neighborhood, I think it's a good idea, a good way to work.
Thank you. Aaron?
So mine's just quickly, it's actually from a submission this morning from one of our neighbours. Do you know, one of your neighbours, sorry, in the next neighbourhood over, do you know Greg Partridge? You met Greg before?
From Richmond.
By name.
Yeah, which is the next neighbourhood over to
Oh, Richmond.
Really? Well, do you not
Richmond's over
down the other end of Stanmore Road? No?
miles down the other end of Stanmore Road.
As long as you know where Richmond
Okay.
is, I think you can answer.
Yeah, okay, so it's 2 neighbourhoods over, sorry. He had 3 neighbourhoods over. He had a great presentation
He's from Bearwood.
this morning that from Utrecht in Holland, where, and it shows a 40-year gap when your point you raised around the trees and stuff, and I wondered if Greg might be worth inviting along to, you guys can have a discussion about coming to the council around some of the landscaping ideas for Phillipstown, because your points you raised are quite correct. And if I may, I'll just, as you're leaving, I'll show you a photo that he showed us this morning, because you'll find it quite inspirational. It's really good. Am I allowed to go over?
Yeah, of course you can
Thank
do that. But look, thank you, Viviana. It's
Thank
great that you came. I'll show Aaron where Richmond is in relation to Phillipstown later on. But it's that what he's going to show you is exactly the vision that you described, and I love the way you walk through the different streets and the difference that could be made. I agree that Phillipstown has become, in elements of it, a concrete jungle, and that's something that has to be addressed with street trees and pocket parks. And I don't see any other way of solving that problem other than working with the local community. So thank you very much for your submission this morning.
Thank you.
Bye. Mark Gerard, I can see you.